This is Genny Williams, and welcome to What Vestavia Home Sellers Need to Know. First of all, tell us who you are.
I'm obviously Jason Cook. I have been a real estate agent now for 11 years, a Vestavia resident. Went to Vestavia Hills High School, graduated back in '96, and moved back here in 2007, and have been selling real estate ever since then.
Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm Genny Williams with Get a Real Estate Life, and I live to help real estate agents. So I've got several questions for Jason today, and right now they're all geared toward a home seller in Vestavia and really educating the home seller on what you need to know if you're planning to sell your home anytime soon, or if you are actually trying to sell your home today. So are you ready for this, Jason?
All right, let's do it.
All right. So any kind of patterns that you're seeing right now as far as selling homes in Vestavia?
Pattern wise, well, here's what the market's like in Vestavia. I mean, over half the homes, actually over 60% of the homes, they're being sold in under 30 days. Then you got, probably there's another 10, 11% they're sold like that next month. Then about 15% are sold between months 3 and 4. And then the other 13, 14% are over 4 months. But right now things are they're moving very quickly, and a good number of homes get multiple offers. But what we're also seeing right now is you may get multiple offers, you may get that home under contract, but that doesn't mean that it's sold. And you know this as well as I do. When the inspection report comes back, sometimes you get buyers now who are pretty picky. And we can talk more about that in a little bit, or we can talk about it now, whichever you want to do.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about, as a seller, if I'm in Vestavia and I'm flooded with showings the very first week,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you're saying that buyers are typically pretty picky. Tell me a little bit about, how are they being picky? What kind of same kind of patterns are you seeing with that?
Okay. Well, there's some things that I tell sellers that I'm telling them right now as far as like what they need to do to get their house ready to put on the market. You need to be willing to do the little things, because a house may come on the market, you may get tons of showings, but if the walls need to be painted, or you've got some stains in the carpet, or it looks like they need to be cleaned, I mean, just little things like that probably cost $150, to get your house cleaned, or even if it's $300, that could mean the difference of about $5,000 on a transaction. And so you'll see buyers come in, oh, we just didn't like it. Oh, it had a funny smell. You hear that sometimes. And so I tell sellers, get a friend of yours, come over, do a smell test. And, we all live in our homes and we all know what it smells like and are used to it, but that doesn't mean it smells good. So, little things like that, you need to be able to do the little things, because if there are little nicks on the walls, or like a little spot stain here or there, a lot of buyers right now think, oh, if they're not willing to do those little things, then they're definitely not going to fix the AC, or they're definitely, what else is wrong with this house? If they're not taking care of these little things, then they're definitely not taking care of these big ticket items. And that causes a lot of hesitation on buyers right now.
Right. And in years past, when we've had a seller's market and things were selling so quickly like they are right now, we didn't see as many picky purchases. I think that the difference today, would you agree, is that the prices have gone up so much, so fast, that I believe buyers are feeling a little like they're paying premium, so they want a premium product.
Yes. I think that's exactly right. Everyone's watching HGTV and they see house flippers and stuff like that. And if you're an investor now and you are trying to flip a house, it better look like what it looks like on TV, or the buyers are going to say, oh, well, this isn't like Chip and Joanna. I can't, I don't think it's worth this. And and to be honest, if they're younger, their parents remember the collapse, and if they're about my age, which is late 30s, early 40s, we remember the collapse. And so even you may get multiple offers, and they may not even be over asking price right now. It may just be asking price, because people are worried that, oh, we're in this escalating market, it's going to crash again. Everybody's worried about when it's going to crash, and they don't want to pay too much. And if they do, they want everything fixed so that if something happens, they can sell it quick.
So what are you seeing with appraisals?
With appraisals, I have seen it. You need to have a good, of course, I would say this. You need to have a good agent when you have a good listing agent on appraisals, because they can pull comps and show them, here's how we got to that price. If you're doing it by owner, you better hope Zillow pulls some good comps for you, because they're appraisers have to go and they have to justify while they're doing that. Even in appreciating markets, it may not appreciate as much as you think. Appraiser may not appreciate as much as you think.
Well, there just may not be anything around to substantiate it.
Exactly. I mean, I had one last year maybe, and it was 20,000 less than what the contract price was, because there weren't any comps around to support it. You had to go about 2.5 miles away, and the comps, there's a house that sold right across the street, but it wasn't the same. This house was a one level. This house was a split level. I can't count those as comps. They're not comps. And so we're seeing, appraisers are pretty picky about that kind of stuff. So just because it's next door to you doesn't necessarily mean it's a comp.
Mm-mm. No, that's an excellent point. So right now, you said that houses are selling very quickly. How quickly are you selling listings in Vestavia?
So my average days on market right now is, I ran the numbers, is 15.33. So about just over 2 weeks, I'm getting houses under contract and sold.
All right.
And that's actually over the average Vestavia agent. Like the average Vestavia agent sells it for about 96% of list price. Mine's 97.8% or 97.7% of list, sale to list price. So that's about the average Vestavia home. I believe I looked up the numbers. What was it? The average Vestavia home this year has sold for $462,128. So me versus the average agent, you're going to make an additional $7,856. That's another $7,800 in the seller's pocket just for using me as opposed to the average Vestavia agent. And you'll probably sell it faster.
Well, I actually would think that, if I had to wait even an extra week, an extra 7 days, it would still be worth it to get that.
It's cheaper than a mortgage payment for most people. So
that's fantastic, though. That's great. So, what's your formula? What are you using to make sure that you're able to get your sellers a little bit more?
Well, I do a couple things. I walk through the house and tell them things that need to get fixed. I tell sellers all the time, paint's worth $20 in the can, $1,000 on the wall. Paint. If you got little kids and they got smudges all over the walls, a fresh coat of paint, it's $20 and a couple hours one Saturday afternoon, and all of a sudden it looks great again. So
no, but don't do it yourself.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, it depends on the person. Most of the time, I tell you, I've got a great painter.
There you go.
But we make sure, I tell them to make sure the house is completely show ready before we put it on the market. You don't want to put it on the market and say, oh, we're going to do this tomorrow, because the buyers that see it today, they're seeing it for what it's worth today. They're not seeing it for what it could be worth tomorrow. One of the big things that in any market really is price. And so I've started telling sellers there's 3 ways to price a house. You can price it high if you want to, because you're the seller. I wouldn't recommend it, but you can price high and look for that you can be that diamond in the rough for that one buyer that may be out there that's willing to pay that price. Then you can price it too. You can price it right in line with the market and just sell in the average amount of time that things are selling right now. And the 3, which is one I usually recommend, is just a little bit under market. Call it the sweet spot. I think I've heard you say that before. Yes. And we want to create a buyer frenzy. Think of it, if you've ever been to an auction, they never start high on the price. They start low. And then one buyer chips in, and another buyer chips in, another one, and another one. And all of a sudden, you've got all these people fighting over this one object that's probably going to sell over market value. And so I just ask sellers, I have to explain to them those 3 ways and ask them how they want to price the house. Do they want to create the frenzy, or do they want to be the diamond in the rough? And I'll work on there. Most of the time, they want the frenzy, though, right now.
I'm going to hold out to be the diamond.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might have to hold out a really long time.
And I tell them this is how long it'll be on the market. But but as you can see from my days on market, most of the time they like to do it. They like to price a little bit lower. Another thing I do is I do some Facebook ads. I do coming soon ads, which I have. People are different about coming soons, but I basically don't post it in the MLS. I don't post it on Zillow. I post it on my website, and I post it on Facebook. And then it makes people who are searching on Facebook, when they see not on the MLS and not on Zillow, they think, oh, well, I've got to see what this house looks like. I got to know what it looks like, because it's going to be something that no one else has seen. And if I can get people thinking that,
right, that
usually helps the sellers, and kind of creates a little frenzy there as well.
Oh, well, it's working, because you're actually getting a Vestavia home seller more money. So that's fantastic. Not every house is selling, and I don't want you as a home seller, if you're watching, to have the impression that just because you put a sign in the yard that you are going to get an offer. There are homes that are not selling right now. And Jason, why do you think that is?
There's a couple of reasons. I mean, we just talked about price, and usually that's a big thing, but there's also sometimes there's surprises on the inspection report. I recommend to sellers, if you can do this, if you have time before you got to put the home on the market, to do a pre-listing inspection. You can find out if there's any you can see what an inspector is how they're going to view your house. And if you discover, oh, there's something wrong with the foundation, or there's some, that's not a terrible fix, or, oh, we've got a plumbing leak here, you can go ahead and address that thing. Because what I'm seeing a lot of is, you get a house under contract, it takes a week, maybe 2 weeks to get that inspection done and to negotiate that. And all of a sudden it falls apart because we can't agree on how to fix this item. Well, then that house is going to go back on the market, and the days on market's going to start, it keeps going. And all of a sudden you're not the fresh house on the market, and people are wondering why your house hadn't sold.
That's right. Everybody wants the good stuff.
Yeah. Everybody wants the shiny new penny. Nobody wants, and in this market, in people's mindsets, it's, this house has been on the market for a month. Well, what's wrong with it? And even though, I started in real estate in 2007, and if you sold the house in a month, it was, you were a champion. And now it's kind of flipped. So
it is. I know it has.
But yeah, I mean, if it's, typically I'm seeing deals either fall apart or homes not sell. One, because they're priced too high, because we know it's a seller's market, and we know that homes prices are going up, but some people are trying to outprice the market where the market is. They think, oh, it's worth this because I saw one house in one, 2 miles away that sold for that. And that's not always the case.
No, it's not. So what kind of creative, ways do you market property?
I like to, I'll mention the Facebook ads, doing coming soon stuff. I've done that. I've had real good success with that, just kind of creating an initial frenzy. But also, you right now, a lot of people just want to put the house on the market and they want to just say, home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, come see it fast before it's gone. I like to take time and tell a story with the house. You want to sell with emotion, and people buy over emotion. And we want, each house has a story, each seller has a story. We want to kind of tell that story and get the buyers to get to know them and understand why they're buying it. And when I do that kind of marketing, it kind of creates a connection with a buyer. Like, oh, I already feel like I know you. I already feel like I know what it's like to live in this neighborhood based on what I read. And those kind of things that a lot of agents aren't doing right now. I don't see that a lot.
Well,
there's always, go ahead.
I love the connection that you are making between the house and a potential buyer. But also, and you're right, people do buy based on emotion, but as a person and what you bring as a professional, I feel like, knowing you these years, is that you're not emotionally wrapped up in it, so that you can be that level-headed advice for people. And that's probably attributes a lot to you being able to negotiate better prices for your sellers, I think.
Well, that's part of it. I'm actually negotiating one right now, and they have it priced probably about $10,000 more than where I would want to price it. And I pulled the comps and said, if you got better comps, show them to me. But my buyers were ready to buy list price. I said, well, hold on a second. It's my job to kind of help you think through this. We're going to get you this house, but let's look at some of these comparable properties. Here's one that's a little bit bigger that sold for less than what they're asking, and they had the same kind of updated kitchen and the same kind of features and all that kind of stuff. And but I think that's part of my job as an agent, is to be the voice of reason sometimes, because it can be a very emotional experience buying a house.
And when you flip-flop working for sellers, you're constantly looking for ways to increase that property. Like what you were saying, you're looking for those higher comps. You're looking for ways to add, dollars to their closing statement at the end. So.
Absolutely. I always ask sellers, I send them seller homework before we list the house. They have a 3-page homework assignment for them. And one of those pages is list all the updates, everything you've done to the house since you bought it. And let's tell that story about, oh, we love this house so much that we replaced all the galvanized plumbing, or we updated this kitchen so that it would be, a nice new kitchen when we brought our first child home, or we did this. And we'll have that list of updates, one for the buyers when they come to see it, but also for the appraiser. So he can see, oh, they did this work at, this year, and here's what it translates to now.
Well, I love how you do that and how you work. So right now, how are you handling multiple offers on properties? Because I know even just recently you had multiple offers this week.
Yes. Well, it depends. Am I working with the buyer or the seller?
Well, this is what a Vestavia home seller needs to know. So.
Okay. So with a seller, I'm looking at, when I get multiple offers, the sellers always look at the price first. That's just the easiest thing to look at. Here's the price. What's it going to get me money-wise? What I tell them to do is, okay, well, let's look at what kind of loan they're getting. Are they going to get a conventional loan? Are they getting a VA loan or an FHA loan? These government-backed loans, and I have to explain to them that appraisers are different for those kind of loans, and they can be a little bit stricter, and the time it takes could be a little bit longer. But we look at terms a lot with sellers, because they may take, may be worth it to take $1,000 less if they're paying cash and don't have to get a loan, or they can close faster. We look at all these things when I'm working with a seller, because I want them to feel comfortable, not just with the price, but with the entire process.
Right.
And, is there going to be enough, what's the inspection timeline? Do they want 2 weeks or 1 week? Because if it falls through and, and you've been off the market now for 2 weeks, you've lost 2 weeks of showing time. Maybe let's either negotiate that one down or take the other offer.
Right. It's not just about the price.
Right.
So many things to work. And, I always say this, a possession date can usually ruin a contract far more than a negotiating price. So there's
Exactly.
just aspects, right, to break it down. So any other bit of advice that you need to make sure that a Vestavia home seller needs to know right now?
I think we talked about just about everything. Other than calling me, I would say
The most important part, right?
Exactly right. But as far as what sellers need to know is you have good representation, and if you do get multiple offers, look at the financing, look at what the buyer's doing. I mean, that's going to be a big part of it, because if their financing falls through, it doesn't matter how much they offered you. But those are kind of my two big tips. I think we covered a lot of it as far as prepping the house and getting ready for it to sell, and painting and getting the carpets clean, all that kind of stuff.
Really good information today. And you're always a wealth of resources as well to a home seller. And not even just in Vestavia, but I know that's where your heart is, and I know that's where most of your sales are. What's your phone number so that people can call you and get a home evaluation? Houses are selling for more. If you want to know what Jason could possibly get out of your home today, then give him a call to see what that number is, and see if it would be worthwhile putting your house on the market. Jason, what's your number?
My number is area code 205. It's 470-7600, 470-7600. And if you're a seller and just want a ballpark figure, you can go to my website, jason.cook and there's a button there that says, "What's my home worth?" And that'll get the process started as well. You can always go to jason.cook and click on "What's my home worth?" and put your info in, and I can follow up with you, and we can take it from there.
See, making things easy for sellers. Thanks so much for joining us today, and make sure you give Jason a call if you're thinking about putting your Vestavia house on the market. Bye, Jason. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks for having me.